Definitely Wilder versus Tyson Fury is toward the end of mediation. And Eddie Hearn came out of nowhere and he said that, believe it or not, they willing to drop all the belts. They're not going to let the WBO stand in the way. They're not going to let Usyk stand in the way of making this fight happen. They said they're willing to drop all the belts in order to make AJ versus Tyson Fury. There's no surprise. They desperate for this fight because they even put it on a UFC game when neither fighter fight for the UFC or ever fought or competed in a UFC bout, right? So let's just show you how bad they want this fight. But it kills the purpose. If this fight is not for undisputed, it kills the purpose because it just be another two top fighters from the UK fighting each other. If it's not for all Marvels,
but see, they try to market to the white American fan base. This is for some reason white people in America do not give a fuck about boxing. That's what they don't really realize. They try to go through all these lengths to get these white fighters and blow them up over here, but it's like nobody, white people in America don't give a shit about boxing. They don't care about having a white champion of that shit. This nigga was not a draw. This nigga couldn't sell out a family dinner like Earl Smith told Sean Porter. It's like trying to hype this nigga up like he was some kind of draw, like he was some kind of like they gave this motherfucker belts. Like his whole career, this motherfucker just a fucking fraud, man.
See, a lot of fans in the United States, that's too many sports. I mean, you got basketball, baseball, football, soccer. I mean, there's so many sports, college football, NFL, NBA, right? So you competing with a whole lot. So when it comes to the sport of boxing, you got to stand out. You got to have personality. You got to have the it factor to be somebody in the United States. You're not just going to be able to sell somebody as a package and expect the United States to cater into that. That's not going to happen, right? But what Eddie Hearn is trying to do in this situation, Eddie Hearn is trying to pretty much save face for Tyson Fury if he does vacate the WBC belt. Because right now, we don't know the terms in the rematch clause. We don't know if the terms say Tyson Fury owes Deontay Wilder a rematch because he has the WBC belt, or if Tyson Fury is obligated to give Wilder a rematch either way. So if it's because of the belt, then I think Eddie Hearn is trying to save face for Tyson Fury if he does lose mediation or arbitration, because mediation is a mutual agreement, more so arbitration. If he does lose that, then he could easily vacate the belt. If the rematch clause terms say Tyson Fury owes Deontay Wilder a rematch because of the WBC, then Fury could easily vacate the belt and move on in order to fight AJ. That way, if AJ has to vacate the WBO, then they fine with that in order to save face for Tyson Fury. I think that's what's going on, if I'm being honest. But either way, it's still a bad look for Tyson Fury to give up the belt in order to avoid Wilder, because he was willing to fight Kabayli in the UK at nobody when he could have made 10 times more money in order to fight Wilder a third time. But they know what's on the line. They know Tyson Fury can't cheat this time around. They know Tyson Fury's cheating tactics got exposed. So it's going to be a fight on an even playing field. And if Wilder knocks him out, Tyson Fury is ruined. His career is over. And this will expose a lot of the double standards and more so the corruption in the sport. I mean, a whole ship is going down if Tyson Fury does go down.
They need to go down, man. Like that Wilder, how they did Wilder, that shit was absolutely disgusting. There's a whole situation where they wanted to put that L on Wilder record by any way they could, because he was there about to be close to retiring undefeated.
And give it to Tyson Fury more so. They wanted to give it to a fighter on the hope list so it could look pretty on the history books. That's what they wanted. A repeated history of Jeffrey versus Jack Johnson where Jeffrey comes up on top. But when it comes to the arbitration, I don't see Tyson Fury finding a way out. But if he does give up the belt and he obligated to give Wilder a trilogy fight because of the belt, then they possibly could give him a franchise belt, a French fries belt, a witness protection belt, and save face for Fury. But at the end of the day, the truth will always come out. So it might take a day, it might take a week.
You've been doing a good job of putting out the facts for these people, man, because you got to keep applying the pressure on their necks, because Fury need to go down for this shit. But I want to see his ass behind bars. A lot of motherfuckers involved with that bullshit. Look at the top rank, the history of Bob Arum with this shit, that fucking Resno shit. What's the dude, the Irish kid that got fucked up with the dude to Billy Collins? That was top rank. Fucking Cotto got his face beat in with some fucking cement blocks. top rank.
Margarito, top rank.
Yeah, Mario, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Now,
Rusto,
top
rank.
involved with this shit. Wilder getting fucking beat with egg weight gloves and shit.
You had another fighter a month ago, Foster, his opponent, Roman, tampered with a glove, and it was the trainer, Bobby Benton, that busted this fighter trying to cheat. He busted Roman trying to cheat in his team, in which the commission approved the gloves. So there's so much corruption in the sport. I personally didn't know the corruption in the sport of boxing. I didn't know how big it was. I knew there was corruption. A blind person could see the freaking double standards. Stevie Wonder could see the double standards that exist in the sport of boxing. Right. But I didn't know that is so much corruption to this extent. This is a whole nother level when it comes to the corruption. That's extremely shocking to see, knowing that a sport could have this much corruption that exists. But it's because of the obvious fact, boxing is like the wild, wild west. There's so much going on. There's no governing body. There's no president. Like the NBA, the NFL, there's structure to the sport. Boxing, there's no structure to the sport. And that's what's wrong with the sport of boxing.
You need to be concerned because of where you're going in your career. Your manager should know about stuff like this and you really got to get I'm sorry to be a dick, but you got to get your manager on board with the entire thing. Because the entire camp, what kind of gloves he wears, like this is your manager's job to protect you. Like I'm supposed to protect you too, but what am I going to say to them? Hey guys, Tyson shouldn't have those gloves, unsafe. Barry, get the fuck out of camp.
Yeah, me too. I'll go home.
Yeah, but this.
I don't mind 2 weeks. I've done enough. Yeah,
bro, not only these gloves beat up, you could I can tell. No, I can tell.
They pushed
that
us to the front.
Beating these gloves up on a wall or something. Look, you can see that from here.
I can't believe that. But I personally,
I'm shocked. This does shock me. Like it doesn't shock me,
bro. I can't do it.
It shocks me.
No, but I don't.
No, don't. Here, you make.
This is Tyson's shit, and these are his sparring gloves that we've been sparring with. As you can see, there's no fucking padding in here, and all the padding's in the back of his fucking glove. Look at that shit. I could touch my other side of my finger with this shit, and there's shit falling out from the middle of the glove. Does he know who the fuck I am? He must not know, does he? Does he? What? Oh, he does not know. Look at this shit, man. And then, hold on, these are the sparring gloves they told me they got from me. These thick ass, look at, hold on, let's see, watch the squeeze. Going nowhere. Going nowhere. Watch this shit.
The Bible tells us that silence is golden. But my ears can still hear and my eyes can still see. The Bible also tells us to be swift to hear and slow to speak. You see, what you don't understand, thief, what you did is what my people deal with all the time. Someone cheating them from providing their greatness into the world. But it's a burden that we cut off only to make us stronger. I saw in the first fight where Ricky Haddon was pulling down your gloves to put your fist in an improper position. Y'all tried the same method the second time, but this time you scratched flesh out of my ears, which caused my ears to bleed. It's impossible for a brand new 10-ounce glove to bend, to keep a smushed in form, or to have loose space. I highly believe you put something hard in your glove, something the size and the shape of an egg weight. Here's the reason why the side of my face swelled up in an egg weight form. And it left a dent in my face as well. But in the midst of it all, you still couldn't keep this king down. You would have had to kill me. In the end, it took a crab in a bucket referee and a disloyal trainer to throw the towel in just to stop me. Proverbs, the 6th chapter 30, 31st says, excuses may be found from a thief who steals because he is starving. But if he is caught, he will have to pay back 7 times what he stole, even if he had to sell everything in his house. And payback is coming.